Hello, welcome back to the Active Ingredient Podcast. We have a solo this week, and it's a topic that you can apply to your personal life, to your professional life, to literally anything. And it's all about checking in with yourself on if this, whatever it is, feels like you now. And I talk about this on the show a lot that I feel like things are evolving really, really quickly, and we are in a phase of evolution where things are just moving quicker. And at least for myself, I feel like I've had to continue to check in way more often on like, wait, does this actually still feel like me now? Does this place feel like me now? Does this location feel like me now? All of these things that felt like a full body, full resonance, yes, 6 months ago, they're kind of like up for review already, And it's really wild how certain things could be moving that quickly. That's something that feels like so yes at one point just doesn't feel the same way in a little bit of time. And so I think that it requires a ton of questioning internally within ourselves. Like, does this feel like me now? Or does it feel like me now? Does it feel like it resonates now? I thought about it today because I was shopping and I was like, something that I feel like is such a staple for me, something that I feel like it was kind of a no-brainer. I wasn't even going to try it on because I was like, this is so me, right? And I loved the cut. I loved the color. I loved everything about it. But I was like, let me just try it on. And I tried it on and I was like, this actually doesn't feel like me. And it's something that I feel like historically I would have been like, 1,000% feels like me. And that's not to say, I mean, I feel like there's certain things about at least my style that feel like have been through line the whole way through. But that's just one tiny little example that I felt today. The reason that I wanted to talk about this for this week is that it's something that I'm constantly checking in with myself for myself and the way that I'm creating and what I'm doing with Active Ingredient, with Piano Piano. And it's something that I'm checking in with my clients all the time with how they're building. When we're doing partnerships and collaborations, I'm like, but does this feel like us? Does it feel like the brand now? Does it feel like the truth of what we're creating now? And there have been opportunities for clients, for example, that from a big collaboration standpoint that we're like, oh, wow, this could be really big in terms of eyeballs, but in terms of alignment, it doesn't really feel or fit the moment of what the brand feels like at that moment. It's turned up having to be a pass. And that happens and it's been happening more and more where we're constantly having to check in like, does this feel like us now? It happens to me and my sister with Piano Piano, our tableware ceramics brand. It happens to us a lot. It requires a constant level of checking in with yourself and checking in on where you're at in terms of your own evolution, whether that be business, career, brand, personal relationships, style, friendships, where you're going out to. It's a constant refining. You're constantly refining that. And it's because we are constantly changing. We're constantly changing. Our tastes are changing. Our physicality is changing. Our way of seeing things is changing. And so it's gonna change the decisions that you're making. And sometimes we can fall into autopilot or doing it more from the mind, being like, oh, this collaboration makes sense because it's a big platform and that will get a lot of eyeballs. But it's like, but are those the eyeballs that are rooted and aligned with who we are? Like, just because it's a bigger platform doesn't necessarily mean that it's the right thing. And again, every single thing that I say, apply it to both business and life. Just because it's a shiny thing doesn't necessarily mean that it's aligned to your soul. And getting more, it requires you also getting to know your soul to be able to decipher what does feel like my soul and what doesn't feel like my soul. And what about this might be something that's trending or I've been influenced by something without even realizing. It takes a ton of introspection to be able to be like, you know what? Actually, this doesn't feel correct. This doesn't feel really aligned. And I'm so happy to have these examples that I feel are so recent and I feel so freaking kind of alive from them because they're examples of people who are creating in a way that I could just feel and sense how in tune these people are with what is alive and true for them. And they're only creating in that way. And so the first example I want to give is Suleika Jaouad. She's a journalist and writer. She's also the wife of Jon Batiste, one of my favorite artists of all time. He's absolutely incredible. And together they're just like this force. They're this pure love, transcendent force. And this weekend I went to go see them. I don't even know what to call it. It's something, it's unlike anything I've ever seen before. They did this performance reading show experience thing for the launch of her book. And I'm actually going to show the book here. The Book of Alchemy for those watching on YouTube. Yes, the podcast is on YouTube. If you search Active Ingredient with Sophie Wheel, if you're listening. But for those watching, this is the book. First of all, how beautiful is it? The book in and of itself feels like it is created from truth, from just like something that is so organic within her. And I bring this up because aside from the fact that the night was just one of the most magical nights I've had in New York in a long time, maybe ever, honestly, it was just, oh my God, that event was, I felt like we were in the presence of true, true love, not to be like so cheesy. I cried like almost the entire time. I went with my friend Brittany. I cried almost the entire time to see the way that these two human beings just love and create environments the way that they did last night is just it's something so rare, unfortunately. It's something that you just don't see that often, and you're not, at least I don't know, like I'm hoping that we start to see more and more of that and that people create from that place more. And I'm hoping that books like this help kind of awaken that so that more people are building and creating that level of refreshing way. But being in that room and seeing how they went about doing a book tour like that, let's call it what it is. This is a book tour that they have flipped on its head and created an environment that feels like them now. Okay. It was so special. The stage was so simple. They brought the couch from their apartment, recreated their own living room, had a beautiful piano, and made this medley of like words, book excerpts, music, integrating the audience in the most organic and beautiful and healing way possible. They have a ton of different people in the book that have excerpts written by different people in their lives. And in the middle of the event, they had voiceovers of some of the people that wrote in the book. And then Jon was scoring on the piano and Suleika was on the bass, and they were together scoring what the people in the book's words felt like to them. Like, talk about just pure magic. Like, it was magic. And no one else can do that. That is the magic of it, is that no one else can do that. Those two humans are so tapped in to what is true for them now, and that is what they allow to come through them and create from that place. And that's what resonates. That's what every single person in the room, it was like a full body yes. Not because every person in the room wants to be doing a book tour, sitting on the couch from their living room, playing the bass and playing the piano. That wouldn't work on anyone else in that room. That's the whole point. It would not work on anyone, but to them, it's the truth for them. And that's the thing that strikes chords. It strikes chords. And it's just so beautiful to witness. It was such a great reminder to me, like that level of creation that is coming from the most honest place. Like, they are not recreating what a book tour is. They're not copy pasting what was successful for another incredible writer, even another incredible writer that is very in alignment to them. That is the trickier thing, is that when you are aware of who your peers are that are aligned to you, that are values aligned to you, and that create in a similar space, that's when your level of discernment and knowing yourself so damn well is even more important, because it's like it can get even trickier to know what is like actually me and what feels like it's a little bit more them and what's me. It's like, this is where blinders, and tapping in to know yourself so damn well, to know what it actually is that is yours. Because that's what we all need. Every single person in BAM on Saturday night needed that from Suleika and from John, not from their peers, not from like an influence from something else. Like we needed it from the source, right? And we all have access to being able to tap into that source. I left so incredibly inspired. It was such a reminder that every vehicle, every person, every human being has a different way to express the same thing. We're all saying the same thing. We are all saying this. If it's rooted in truth, any single person that is expressing is at the core saying the same thing, because it is all one thing. So the truth is the truth is the truth. But the way that it comes out, the way, the form, the flavor that it is injected into the world, that strikes chords with different people, because different flavors will land with different people. That is the thing to sharpen. And what I saw on that stage was two vehicles that are so clearly attuned. Like they are just so incredibly open, discerning, and clear. Like it is like a fluid channel of truth and peaceful. Like it just felt like joy and peace and love and depth and connection and expansion and inviting and just all the most beautiful qualities. And so that's one of the examples of two people that I feel create from that place. And if you want to have literally the most beautiful book on your coffee table, one that I cannot wait to dive into. I actually didn't even know that it was a book that included a ton of different excerpts from people until last night, actually. I cannot wait to read this. I love reading things and having things in my home that are reminders, because that's honestly what all of this stuff is. Like songs are reminders, books are reminders, what you consume, podcasts are reminders, art is reminders, everything is reminders. And it's just constantly reminding ourselves of the truth of what we are, of what is the thing that's actually moving through us. And so that's a beautiful example. Another example that I wanted to give on this show, all about, does this feel like me now? And am I creating something that feels really true to me and in a way that feels like I'm not pressuring it to be something that it's not? Is this incredible human being that I met probably a year ago at this point, maybe a little over a year ago. His name is Sandro. When I think about him, I just get so excited. This human has just brought so much joy into my life. And he is the creator and artist and founder behind this brand called Casa Grace. And when I do my Founders as Artist series, he's going to be a part of that for my solos. And he's also going to be coming on Active Ingredient as a guest. But he is the founder of this incredible brand called Casa Grace. And he recycles tablecloths, table runners, and quilts. And he makes these incredible shirts and shorts and jackets, and then embroiders them with all of these like colorful things inspired by his grandmother. And whenever I'm in town and it's a Saturday, I always go to the Fort Greene market. I always go and say hi to him. He's met my family. Like my favorite item, my favorite shirt that I own is from him. And it was actually such a special day. Like my family was visiting and we were at the Fort Greene market. I introduced my whole family to him. And my parents were so freaking cute. And they were like, we want to buy you your first Casa Grace piece. They're so freaking cute. I cannot. And so, yeah, it's literally my favorite item that I own. And the way that this human creates and the level of it feeling like it is so incredibly true to him, he is not creating for anything other than creating something that feels real. And his pieces feel like that. Every time that I wear that shirt, I feel like the most myself. Like I feel so myself. And I feel like all of the pieces that he does feel like that. And just being around people like that and being able to talk to them, it's like they exist in your neighborhoods. They exist everywhere. You are probably one of them. And it kind of like takes one to know one. So the more that you could be in that state, the more you start seeing that in so many people around you. And this human is just so refreshing. And so I cannot wait. He's going to be coming on Active Ingredient. We're going to be doing actually a really fun episode. Like it's a type of episode that I have never done in this way. And I'm really excited because it'll be more visual. there is like a co-creation component to it. And I'm going to put his link in the show notes for his website. If you are in New York and you come to Fort Greene Park, you definitely should go see him. He's always there on Saturdays. And yeah, I just love him and I love his energy and I love his pieces and I love how he creates. And it's so refreshing in a world where it's just so loud and you kind of like you forget what is your own style and you forget the things that excite you and you forget the things that feel like they actually like you put them on your body and it feels like you know, like you forget. And then when you get it again and you're like, hell yeah, like this feels good. This feels like me now. And yeah, those were two examples that I wanted to share from this weekend that I was like, okay, these are humans that are deeply, deeply, deeply creating in a way that feels so incredibly just aligned. And something that's coming through right now is that I feel like a lot of people listen to Active Ingredient were like in the brand space, right? And me too. Like a lot of my clients were doing collaborations. We're thinking of partnerships for the year, for the summer. Where are we activating? Where are the event spaces that we're doing things at? Like what brand partners? Oh my God. I have to talk about this other one. So another incredible brand and human and artist that I feel like just creates in this way that is tapping in. And this is an event that I went to last week. And also, by the way, I just feel like this week, it's just been like a week of things that just feel so incredibly like, yes, like, yes, it doesn't feel like, you know, when you go to an event or when you're going to something and you feel like your throat is tight and something about this feels icky. I only want to be there for 2 seconds and just peace. None of these things that I'm talking about were that. Like I could have relished in those experiences forever. And it just felt so resonant in my system. But this was another event that I went to last week, and it was so intentional and aligned. And it was with the scent brand. It's actually, I don't even want to call it a scent brand. It's like a beauty, wellness, holistic lifestyle brand. I had the founder on the show, Rafaela Grisa. She is the founder of Wait, WAIT. And she hosted an event for the new fragrance in her collection. And also, by the way, like the way that they launch is so interesting too. It's so slow and intentional, and they don't just launch products to launch them, which is so refreshing, especially in beauty. And it was this event in this building. I think it's called the Greenwich. Incredible architecture, incredible intentionality behind everything in the space. Also, everything that's in the Wait brand is like all architecturally influenced, and it's all with an engineering background because Rafaela is an engineer, and the way that she creates her scents is all engineer influenced. And so everything from the environment, from the space that we were in, to the collaborators, to the people that were in attendance, like every single thing about it was just like so true to her. It was so true to her and her right hand, Olivia. Man, what a refreshing way to do these things. Because as someone who goes to and is involved with and is around a lot of this stuff for brands, a lot of times, a lot more often than not, actually, not as of late for me. As of late, everything's been feeling incredibly aligned. But like throughout my career, I have been to so many things that feel like it just feels like candy is the best way that I can describe it. Like it feels like you're like putting candy into your body or something artificial and something that makes you feel really bad afterward. And it's so nice and refreshing to be in rooms and seeing and being around and aligned with more and more of the people that are creating from a place of center, from a place of deep silence. Like you can't really create that level of truth without having the capacity to be silent as hell to be able to listen to that. Like that doesn't come from go, 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 noise, noise, noise. What's next? What's next? It does not come from that. It comes from silence. And I'm just in awe of being able to see those things. And yeah, another one that I just remembered is that my friend Daisy just launched her Substack. It's called I Just Want to Talk. And I subscribed. I adore Daisy. She is an incredible journalist, producer, writer, and she writes for so many places. She does all the profile pieces for Into the Gloss, which is one of my favorite editorial creations. She always covers really cool people. And just she as a human is so real And I know that she's been thinking about doing the Substack for a really long time, and she did it. She like put it out in the world, and it's there. And seeing the response is just so beautiful, because it's like a lot of times, and I actually had another meeting with someone last week that said this exact thing that I'm about to say, is that a lot of times people will tell themselves, this is oversaturated. This is too loud. There are too many people that have this type of product in the space. There are too many non-alcoholic brands. There are too many Substacks. There are too many podcasts. There are too many musicians. There are too many books. There are too many everything. But the truth is, the reality is what I said in the beginning. Every single thing at their core, like if people are talking truth, they're talking truth, right? Like it's going to be that, but it is the way, it is the form, it is the how, it is the person, it is the vehicle, it is the expression of how a person does it. That is the thing. That is the thing. That is the thing. Like, so yes, if you feel called to do a Substack, if you feel called to do a podcast, if you feel called to do whatever, yeah, there's a ton of them. And there's no one, and it sounds so cheesy, but there's no one that's going to be able to say it or do it through the lens of you, especially if you're doing that work to be able to actually know what that you is versus just doing to do. Like, if you can do that, man, we really need it. Like, we really, really need it. And I want to see more of that. It was so like, I was so incredibly refreshed from seeing this book tour stop with John and Suleika. It's a book tour stop. You know how many book launches there are on a daily basis? Like, oh my God, like it's so much, but that is a one in a million type performance, or not even in a million, one in a however many human beings there are type performance, because no one in the planet can do it like them. But those are two human beings who have been able to tap in that way and to create consistently enough to be able to express that way. And so I want more and more people to be doing that, because that feeling, I don't want to have to wait for Suleika's next book to be able to go to a room like that. You know what I mean? I love to be in rooms like that. And I love to see people doing their thing. And everyone loves to see it. And it is, again, and I sound like a broken record when I say this, but it's because it flickers this light that exists inside of ourselves. It is a connection piece to something bigger. And the more people that we have roaming the planet that can tap into what that is and then create and express from that place, whether it be a platform that a million people are on, it doesn't matter. It does not matter. Like, do it in a way that feels like you now. Dress in a way that feels like you now. Show up in a way that feels like you now. Create in a way that feels like you now. And continue to check in with yourself on what does feel like you now. Does it still feel like you now? And if it doesn't, how can we tweak it? How can we get quiet enough so that we can figure out what that thing is, or to stop doing that and completely pivot? Experimentation is, especially if you look at it through the lens of play, is how we kind of get closer and closer to the ways of expression that feel like us. You can't know without trying, you know? Like, if you feel really called to start a Substack and you start writing and you're like, okay, I really like writing, but I don't like it in this vehicle. I don't like it in this form. Maybe I like to write physically with my hand. Maybe I like to write on direct email. Maybe I like to write on a blog. There's a million different ways to do it. Maybe I like to write in a book format, like whatever it is, but it's like, start in the place where you feel like, okay, this is what I'm called to now. It doesn't mean that you need to be stuck in that form for forever. It's just a next step. It's a stepping stone to get closer and closer to what feels like you now. And the more that I ask myself the question, the quicker the answer comes, because I know what actually feels extremely aligned. And for clients that I'm working with on behalf of, it's a constant check-in and asking them questions so that I am getting a clear understanding of what is true for them now, so that when it comes down to making those calls on the right brand partner, or this feels like the right venue, or this feels like the right studio, or this feels like the right photographer, I'm able to reflect back to them where they're at now. So the question and the prompt really is, but does it feel like you now? The hints for things that feel like us is when it feels like you can just relax, you can settle in, you feel at peace, I think for me, a really big indicator is shoulders down, chest is like open vibes. Yeah. Feels like an exhale. And I want to see more people doing that. And I just know that I know that people that are listening to this, like you're on this path. Like we're all on this path. And I'm seeing more and more people bring to life the thing that they've been thinking of. I know some friends that listen that have told me that they've been wanting to launch their Substack, that they've been wanting to launch a business that melds two of their passions together, that they want to launch this event series, that they want to start dancing again. Whatever that is, I know that everyone that's listening to this is on that path already, because that's what the whole point of Active Ingredient is. It is literally about, when I say, does it feel like you, like that you is your ingredient, it's your essence, it's your truth, it's like what you actually are. And there's a part of that that's unwavering, that is like your core course essence. And there's also a part that's ever changing and ever evolving. And that's the part that we need to continue to check in with. It's not like okay, we checked in once in our 20s and then that's our identity forever. It is constantly changing. I'm telling you, for me, like for certain things 6 months ago, something would have been a full body yes, that is a complete full body no right now. Something that I would have considered for Piano maybe a year ago is not something that I would consider now. And so it's a continuous practice. I personally check in with myself every single day. I write every morning. I have for years. Just word dump, stream of consciousness, let it all out there. I feel like it clears the path for me. Like anything that's lingering, anything that comes up right when I first wake up, anything that from yesterday or from the week, or anything that is like getting in my way of that open channel vibes, I just kind of like word dump. And that is a place for me to just check in. And so doing whatever I can to open the channel enough for that to be more and more of what comes through. So I hope that something in here resonates. If you are in the market for a new book, I haven't read it yet, but I just know based off of these two human beings that this is going to be an excellent read. I just love even how it feels in my hand, and just what those two humans have gone through together, and how they have quite literally alchemized incredible pain into such beauty, into such power, and a light for everyone else is so incredibly inspiring. And I just know that there's intentionality behind every single word, every single person. And I want to be reading those things and kind of consume and be in that vibe. So I hope that you have a beautiful rest of your week. I hope that we all ask ourselves that question of, does this feel like me now? Does this meeting feel like me now? Does this dinner plan feel like me now? Does this coffee date feel like me now? Does this outfit feel like me now? Does this client feel like me now? Does this city feel like me now? Does this relationship feel like me now? Anything in our lives, I think it's important to ask ourselves if things actually feel like us, or if we've been influenced or have any sort of external thing that is guiding us to choose something that's not coming from a place of our own essence. And so I'll leave you with that. I'm sending you so much love. I hope that you have a beautiful rest of your week. I hope that you tap in and know that you are so worthy, and that we all need to see what that true essence is, because that thing is what makes us all remember. And I'm not saying that to be cheesy. I'm saying that because it's actually the facts, and I don't want to be starved of all of your brilliance. All right. I'll see you next week. Bye.